Good evening and welcome to the final round of the 68th Annual National Moot Court Competition at the New York City Bar. This event is co-sponsored by the Moot Court Committee at City Bar and by the American College of Trial Lawyers. My name is Daniel Rothschild, co-chair of the Moot Court Competition. I'm joined by Byron Huang. The argument you're about to see is the culmination of an immense competition that spans 5 months. In November of 2017, 163 teams from 116 schools participated in 14 regional competitions across the country, and each region sent its best 2 teams to compete this week in the national final rounds of the New York City Bar. We began the national rounds with 28 teams, and after 4 days and 42 arguments, we're down to the final 2.
This year's case, captioned Lucy Tocklefane, Ricky Tocklefane, and the City of Arcadia Gallifrey versus Sally Sparrow and Larry Nightingale, involves 2 issues of constitutional importance. First, whether a plaintiff alleging violation of her First Amendment rights in a retaliatory arrest suit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983 must plead and prove lack of probable cause as an element of her claim, and whether an unauthorized driver of a rental car has a legitimate expectation of privacy sufficient to convey standing to sue over an unconstitutional vehicle search. Here is a hopefully brief factual summary to help you follow along. This case revolves around a post-election celebratory rally for Harold Saxon as the newly minted president-elect of the United States. Respondents Sally Sparrow and Larry Nightingale were close friends that decided to drive to the rally to voice their displeasure with the president and his policies. Larry Nightingale reserved and paid for the rental car online, while Sally signed the rental car agreement as the sole authorized driver and drove them to the rally. At the rally, respondents were among a vocal group of protesters gathered near the front of the stage. Accounts differ as to what was said, but their unflattering comments of President Saxon caught the attention of petitioner State Trooper Lucy Tocklefane, who radioed the rest of the president's security detail to inform them of a potential situation. After his speech, President Saxon made his way through the crowd when Sally and Larry began booing. The president noticed the respondents and approached Sally with arms extended as if to greet her. When the president was close enough, she slapped his hands away, at which point he left to greet other people in the audience. When Trooper Ricky Tocklefane saw this, he rushed toward Sally and demanded to know if she had touched the president. She denied this. As Sally was pushing her way through the crowd to leave, Ricky recognized Sally from Lucy's description and stopped her to ask her whether she had been yelling at the president from near the stage. She denied this as well, and after Lucy arrived and identified Sally, she was placed under arrest for making a materially false statement to a state officer in violation of Section 1001 of the Gallifrey Penal Code. After Sally's arrest, Larry insisted on accompanying her to the police station, and after several hours of questioning, Larry realized he would have to return the rental car to avoid any additional charges or fees. While Larry was back on the road, he was stopped at a traffic stop by Officer Emanon of the Arcadia Police Department. As she was inspecting Larry's documentation, she noticed a partially concealed object protruding from underneath the passenger's seat. Officer Non asked Larry to step out of the vehicle, identified the object as a semi-automatic weapon, and arrested Larry for possession of the firearm. The state eventually dropped the charges against Sally, but Larry's case proceeded to trial, where the jury ultimately acquitted him of all charges. Afterward, Sally and Larry brought suit against the Tocklefanes and the City of Arcadia under 42 IRC Section 1983, alleging that the officers Tocklefane violated Sally's First Amendment rights by arresting her in retaliation for her protected speech, and that Officer Non violated his Fourth Amendment rights when she searched the rental car. The district court granted the defendant's motion for entry of judgment against Sally and Larry. The 14th Circuit reversed on both issues. Lucy Tocklefane, Ricky Tocklefane, and the City of Arcadia brought this appeal to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court granted the petition for certiorari on April 15, 2017. We'll see argument in a few moments, but first, Daniel will introduce our teams and judges.
For the teams representing petitioners, the Tocklefanes in the City of Arcadia is the University of Southern California, Rachel Young and Zoe Steinberg, and the coach for the University of Southern California team is Rebecca Lonigan. Representing Sally Sparrow and Larry Nightingale, Northwestern University, whose counsel are Taylor Mulhaney, L.J. Pavletic, Brendan Gerdes, and their coach is Sarah Schrupp. We're honored to present the judges who will preside over this final round of the 68th National Moot Court Competition. The Honorable Dennis Jacobs of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, the Honorable Carol Ammon of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York, the Honorable Anne Donnelly of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York, the Honorable Deborah James of the Supreme Court of the State of New York, the Honorable Robert Reed of the Supreme Court of the State of New York, Samuel Franklin, President and Fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, and John Kiernan, President of the New York City Bar Association. We'll begin in a few moments.
Good luck.